The Great Map of Julian's Heart. Julian had a mind like a lightning bolt, quick, bright, and capable of jumping across the most difficult gaps. However, his room told a different story. It was a chaotic landscape of crumpled papers, mismatched socks, and forgotten puzzles. While Julian's brain could calculate the distance to the moon in seconds, he preferred to lie on his back and wait for the world to move around him. To Julian, effort was something other people did. Every morning, Julian's mother, Martha, acted as his personal engine. She didn't just wake him up, she guided him through the day, even bringing his breakfast to him on a wooden tray. Julian would lean back against his pillows and let her feed him spoonfuls of warm porridge while he mused about gravity or the secrets of the stars. "You have such a gift, Julian," Martha would sigh. "If only you would use it for something more than daydreaming." Life shifted one rainy afternoon. Julian's father, Thomas, was a soldier who stood as tall as an oak tree. He came home with a heavy green duffel bag and a somber face. He had received orders to deploy immediately to a land far across the ocean. Julian watched from the shadows of the hallway as Thomas hugged Martha tightly. He felt a strange twinge of worry, but he didn't offer to help his father pack his heavy gear. After Thomas left, the house felt strangely hollow. Then, the silence deepened. The exhaustion of keeping everything running alone finally broke Martha's strength, and she fell deeply ill. She lay in her room, her face pale and her energy gone. One morning, Julian sat at the kitchen table and waited for the breakfast that never arrived. The quiet was louder than any shout. He realized that if he didn't move, the world would simply stop. Julian crept into his mother's room. She looked fragile beneath the heavy quilts, her breathing shallow. "I'm so sorry, Julian," she whispered, her voice like the rustle of dry leaves. "I just can't get up today." A cold rush of fear hit Julian, but then his brilliant mind began to click into gear. He reached out and touched her forehead, feeling the heat of her fever. He realized then that his intelligence wasn't just for solving puzzles. It was a tool he had to start using. Julian didn't retreat to his daydreams. Instead, he cleared a space on his messy desk and grabbed a fresh sheet of paper. He didn't draw a rocket ship or a map of the stars. He drew a battle plan for home. He used his mathematical skills to calculate how long it would take to boil water, sweep the dust, and organize the medicine cabinet. He saw now that chores were just logic problems, waiting for a clever solution. He tackled the kitchen first. Julian discovered that if he tied thick sponges to his feet, he could skate the floor clean in half the time it took to use a mop. He whistled as he glided across the linoleum, scrubbing away the grime with every stride. He organized the cupboards by expiration date, making sure he could find his mother's tea and medicine in an instant. The mess that had defined him began to vanish under his busy, clever hands. Julian carefully prepared a tray for Martha. He didn't just bring her soup. He brought a small glass vase holding a single bright wildflower and a note written in his very best handwriting. He propped her pillows up and slowly fed her the broth he had simmered himself. "You're doing so well, Julian," she whispered, a hint of color returning to her cheeks. Julian felt a glow in his chest that felt far better than any daydream. Weeks passed, and Julian became the steady heartbeat of the house. He finished his schoolwork early and spent his afternoons helping the elderly neighbor, Mrs. Gable, carry her heavy groceries. When the front door finally swung open and Thomas returned from his deployment, he stopped in his tracks. The house was sparkling, Martha was smiling in the garden, and Julian was standing tall, his room completely tidy and his spirit even brighter. The boy who once wouldn't lift a finger was now the first to lend a hand. Julian realized that being intelligent was a responsibility, and being helpful was a choice that made him truly powerful. Throughout the neighborhood, Julian was no longer known as the lazy dreamer, but as the boy who could solve any problem with a clever plan and a kind heart. He wasn't waiting for the world anymore. He was busy making it better.